Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the collaboration space. I'm your AVI-SPL host, Nancy Lussier. And today joining us is Zach Snook, who is a senior product manager with Biamp. Welcome, Zach.
Hey, Nancy, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And we talked a little bit earlier about, the return to work and how all of our meetings, have at least one video participant. And we may be losing a little bit of that personal connection and, the human experience of meeting in person. But virtual meetings aren't going away, right? So can you kind of share your take on that, Zach, on keeping personal connections in video meetings?
Absolutely. I mean, we're experiencing it here at Biamp. We've been back in the office since mid last year. We had felt that coming back to the office was really important in the interaction, but of course, you're not going to have everybody here all the time. So almost every meeting I'm in now, there's remote participants. I'm sure everybody's experiencing that at this point. You mentioned a video call, and honestly, I think that's one of the key things people are seeing in that interaction, and we kind of got used to that in a pandemic. I remember pre-COVID being in so many calls where nobody would start their video, or
Right.
it's just a phone call or something, right?
Yep.
Like,
You
so
never knew what anybody looks like.
yeah, and I think the difference back then was that the remote participant wasn't at the forefront. It was a rarity to be the remote person, and then COVID hit, and everybody was at home, and everybody kind of got used to video, and it was almost became an expectation. So I think on the return to work, that personal connection of just seeing somebody has become much, much more important than we've ever seen before in conferencing.
Very true. Very true. And you mentioned everybody went remote. Suddenly we were all on the same footing. If everybody was
Mhm.
remote participants were no longer a second class citizen because that's all there were. Everybody was working, remotely or from home. So Zach, talk to me a little bit about how we can solve this dilemma. What are the tools we need to look for to give us the best video meeting experience possible where people in the room and people at home or remote have the same experience and that same personal communication?
Mhm. Absolutely. I think some of it is happening from the UC providers themselves. Obviously, we've seen new features grow out of this: the ability to raise your hand in a Teams call or a Zoom call, the ability to kind of put content with a gallery view or how you see people and how it's presented, and to give the remote participants more of a forefront. So I think that's been a huge thing. Biamp's actually pushed us a little bit in our BYOD offerings in our Modena platform, where we've introduced more and more tools to make collaboration across a call more friendly, really, and more useful. So, really the goal is to make somebody that's remote feel like they're here in the room, be able to interact on a whiteboard. So I think a lot of that has just been done by the experience themselves in Teams rooms or Zoom rooms. I think a little bit that the quality of the gear and the equipment also has a big play. And this has always kind of been a thing, but people have expectations now where the far end not only has the remote participant has quality devices, has a decent camera at their station, but that's being portrayed back into the room. And the experience here is like you're talking to somebody. It shouldn't sound like you're in an old school phone call whenever you call up somebody.
Right.
It doesn't
Yeah.
give them that fair seat at the table.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. And I noticed
at Biamp, we strive to make that better. Go ahead.
when you moved around a little bit, Zach, your camera followed you. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like gave me a little bit of a different perspective of just, the static image of somebody on the screen.
And the nice part about that is it didn't affect me. I didn't have to pick up a remote and do that. I shouldn't be thinking about the technology in a meeting and how do I control it. It should just be very natural. The more I feel like I'm in a meeting and just talking to you directly, the better that experience with the remote participant is. It's just an equal footing, as you put it. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So we talked about the cameras and you touched on sound as well. We're past the days of I can't hear you and static and things going on. So talk to me about what we're looking for as far as sound quality in these meetings and
Yep.
what some of the solutions are for that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny. I've always said that the audio is the sort of underlying main component of a conference call. I've been in many meetings where the video didn't work and people will turn off the video or accept that. But if you don't have audio, you don't have a conference. Obviously,
Very true.
Biamp has moved into the video space with our new video camera offerings that have come out and our new video conferencing bars that have come out. but audio is still very core to us, and it's extremely important in a meeting. So, we've toyed with the fact that old meetings used to be a cell phone in the middle of a table, and that's not a good experience. People can't be heard. People actually put their focus in talking down to the table or to the phone.
Mhm.
It doesn't give that natural conversation and the
Yeah.
natural ability.
I remember the
So,
triangle in the
uh,
middle of the table, just like you're saying, and everybody leaning
absolutely.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we strive to be a little better in that in just our gear. So we have technologies that also support the audio gear. Our microphones are auto tracking just like the camera. It's not as easy to see that, but certainly as the camera's moving, our microphones can actually move about the space and again keep the worry off the participants sitting in the room that they're not using the technology correctly. We've also highlighted things in our new conferencing bars like noise reduction. We've realized that noise in conferencing is a major issue, and we've actually gone to our next generation of noise reduction, which is AI based. So it not only gets rid of kind of traditional sounds like a projector fan or a laptop fan or HVAC, it can actually now kind of start getting rid of tapping and typing and even dogs barking or people in the background in a
Yeah.
coffee shop. So
Mhm.
it's really all about acknowledging that the remote participants are going to be there for at least the foreseeable future. And we need to work better as a technology company to make sure that those interactions are on par with sitting across the table.
Yeah, it sounds like Biamp solutions that you've been talking about are giving me that professional experience even when I'm at home. There isn't going to be a difference.
Absolutely. There's two sides to every call. So, you should have just as good experience as the people sitting here. And we acknowledge that our echo cancellation, our noise reduction, none of that is for the benefit of the people in the room. It's for the benefit of the remote participant.
Yeah.
But then the speakers and the tuning of the system here and making the person on the far end sound as good as the people in the room, also on our list
Yeah.
of things to do and
Yeah.
what our systems provide.
Yeah. Well, Zach, there's so many solutions out there right now for video conferencing, and I appreciate you sharing what makes Biamp different and what we should look for when we're trying to maintain that human connection and personal experiences in our virtual meetings. So I want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. And to all of our listeners, I appreciate you as always. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at AVI-SPL Info so you don't miss any of our video podcasts. And if you prefer to listen on the go, you can subscribe to the audio version of the Collaboration Space on your favorite podcast app. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time in the Collaboration Space. For more information, visit avispl.com/buy-in.